Hi, this is Tigress here with Leader Class Megatron from the animated series. I believe he's the only Megatron toy you can get that's based on the Earth mode Megatron from the series. He's a pretty awesome helicopter, and he's a big toy. As you can see, I had to actually hold this pretty far back to get him within full range of my camera. If I hold him as close as I usually do with the toys I've been showing, you can't really see the full thing. He's a pretty big toy. He's about standing up. I think he might be taller. Because of the neck, Transmetal's 2 Megatron might still be taller than this guy in Dragon mode, but only because of that neck. This guy stands pretty tall, too. He makes a really good helicopter. I know I'm not normally big into the whole designing Transformers off of objects that don't exist in real life. I consider it kind of cheating, but the animated toys are getting me over that. They are really good toys, the ones that I've gotten so far. I've gotten him, I've gotten Jazz, I've gotten Blitzwing. Blitzwing, honestly, now that I have like Jazz and this guy, I'd have to say Blitzwing is probably so far the worst of the bunch. I mean, I love the character, the toy is pretty good, but it does definitely have its flaws, where this guy and Jazz, they are pretty awesome little toys. I'm so far impressed with the animated series line of toys, and I'm not going to be getting them all because, as I said, I only tend to get the ones that I'm interested in. So I am getting 2 more in, and that's probably going to complete my animated line that I'm collecting. Mainly just the characters I like. I'm going to be getting Bumblebee in and Ratchet. And Ratchet was my favorite Autobot. And that's another thing I like about the animated line is that I do like some of the Autobots. The Autobots actually have personalities and character. I like Prime a lot. I probably won't be getting his toy, but, you know, in general, the Autobots make for interesting characters. And to me, that's the harder part, is making the good guys interesting. So, in general, I'm actually pretty impressed with the storyline and animated because of that. So I like the toys. I like the show. It's definitely up there my favorite lines of Transformers. Not that I've honestly seen that much. I've seen Beast Wars, I've seen a little bit of Beast Machines, but because I never got to watch it completely, Beast Machines was confusing if you watch the whole thing. I've seen G1, and I've seen animated, and I saw maybe an episode or 2 of Armada, but once again, I jumped in the middle of that, so I kind of was confusing, so I never really got into that one either. So one thing I will point out is a lot of people point out they're kind of skeptical that this would actually be a working helicopter design, and they also point out that they think it's based off of the Osprey, like the design was inspired by that. Now my roommate's actually an aerospace engineer, and I kind of agreed with him at first. It looked kind of skeptical. It didn't have tail rotors, and the fact that these rotors you would think would hit each other, you know, you would think that that would make it not really a working helicopter design. Well, his idea was that this looked a lot more like some Russian helicopters that did have their blades kind of like that, and that did end up like going like this. I asked him how well they flew, and he goes, well as you'd expect any Russian aircraft to fly, so apparently they weren't the best helicopters out there, and they did crash, but this is conceptually a working design. The dual rotors actually make it so you don't need the tail rotor, so not having a tail rotor is not an unrealistic design of this toy. Also, and this isn't even an unrealistic design, it actually has been done. I do like how they make, when you turn the rotors, they both turn, and they actually avoid hitting each other. Now, mine actually gets a little stiff sometimes, and then I'll accidentally turn it, and it'll go like, you can hear it like a little click noise, like you moved it, and if you do that too much, they do start hitting, but you can fix that by forcing one to stop and clicking the other one so that they're back in a mode where they're not hitting each other. So and I wasn't as big when I first saw him in the TV show. I didn't really like the helicopter design. I didn't like how this thing went all the way up here, but after I got the toy, it really does look pretty nifty, and this doesn't bug me that much anymore. I mean, I'd still prefer the cockpit to stop up there rather than going all the way to the nose, but in general, I do think it makes for a nice-looking helicopter. I like the little jets up here, and this is actually where they put the batteries for his electronic gimmick. So, yeah, so in helicopter mode, he does, you press this, and he makes little helicopter noises. I kind of wish they also had one, like another noise where he pressed it and he made little noises from his gun. But, you know, someone else actually thought that that was actually nice that they didn't do with the tried, you know. He thought that was an overdone kind of thing to have, like, the gun noise. But I would have liked it, honestly. He has his gun here, and let me show you how this shoots. You can either shoot it pressing this tab here and it just shoots, or you can cock it like this and then press the tab and shoot. Oh, sorry, let me show you. So, and it shoots pretty far, so you can either shoot it, there's a little tab here, so you can, when you load the thing and it's not loaded, it'll shoot when you hit it, or you can cock this back and shoot it like that. So 2 ways to shoot that gun. And then the one complaint I have about this toy, well, besides this thing. This bugs me to no end, and I don't know if that's with my toy or not, or if that's, I bought this used and it was supposed to be just a display piece, but I don't know if this was with all of these toys or if just mine is a little defective there, but it's got like a big hole there, and you can kind of close it up, but then the other side gets a hole. So anyways, the one real complaint I have about this is if you look at him this way, you can kind of see and you can see how big he is too, that I have to go this far back, but you can kind of see like the robot mode, and you'll really see it once I take this part off. So he does also come off in pieces, but the way they do it is really nifty, and I will show you why in a second. The first thing we're going to do is take his helicopter blades off, because they're supposed to come off, and I like to take them off first so you don't accidentally break them trying to move other stuff around. And sometimes they get a little grabby there. The thing that this grabs onto is actually moving, and I'll show you why in a sec once I transform him. And then you take this blade off, and as you can see, it's also being a little stubborn about it. And so now we'll also take this piece off here, because this comes off. And mine likes to make that transforming noise when I do that. It's supposed to make the transforming noise when you move this, but most of the time mine doesn't actually do it when you move this. It likes to make that transforming noise when you take the thingy off. And then you take this guy and you kind of push it down, and you got to be a little stubborn with it. You've got to kind of force it, but be very stiff when you force it. It's hard to explain because you could easily break it by forcing, but if you do it right, you're not going to break it, and it goes down a lot easier. And I think mine's getting a little looser about that, so it's getting easier to do that. So now you can really see what I mean by he's got a pretty simple transformation. So when he's in helicopter mode, he's kind of just folding his arms up and sticking his legs together, and kind of flying straight, but it still makes, as long as you're not looking at from the other side, makes for a good helicopter. And it makes for, once he's transformed, he's going to look a lot like his animated character. It's really a pretty good likeness. So then we can either change his arms around, or I actually like to do the feet first. So we're going to take this part off, split these, go like that, and I like to move his feet open up from here, like that. So now he's got feet, and then you move this and move him down like this so that he's got boots. They look like kind of like really big boots, and you got to kind of, and then go like that, and then you fold these little landing gear up. I always forget to do that part, and they'll fold up better once I split them apart, because they actually, when it's together like that, they clash with each other, so they kind of have to be down when he's in helicopter mode. You can't like have like retracting landing gear with him. And then you take the arms and you move them out like this. As I said, really simple transformation. His hands come out from here. And so now he's got his hands out. And then we move this one up and we do the same thing here. And then we fold this back. And now we've got Megatron.